Who the hell are you? And why are you cooking in my kitchen? That's what flew out of my mouth, loud enough to startle myself. When I came home 3 days early and found a total stranger stirring sauce in my cabin. You ever walk into your own place, expecting quiet, and instead you catch the smell of garlic, pots boiling over. And this is the kicker: someone else's clothes folded up on your bed like she's lived there for weeks? Yeah, me neither. But that's how my story starts. She looked up, cool as a cucumber, and said, "Barbara from the HOA said it's okay. Quick question for you. If you were standing where I was, what the hell would you do?" Rage doesn't even cover it. Honestly, if you can imagine yourself not losing it in that moment, hats off to you. Stick around, because what happened next, let's just say, things went downhill, then off a cliff. See, I'm a security installer by trade. I noticed the tiniest things: locks that don't catch right, footprints where they shouldn't be, that sort of thing. And today, something felt wrong before I even turned the key. Afternoon sun was blazing, but my porch light, it was on, screaming inconsistency. I never leave that thing on, ever. My gut twisted as I slid my key into the lock. The knob turned too smooth, too easy for a door that should have been locked and untouched for days. Then that smell: garlic, tomatoes, something rich and homey rolled out when I pushed the door open. I remember closing the door behind me as quietly as I could, adrenaline humming in my ears. Everything in me wanted to clear the corners, sweep the rooms like I was back in training. But I just moved slow, scanning, heart thumping. Purse on the table, lipstick-stained mug, shoes by the door. My house, but living someone else's life. There was a throw blanket on my couch I'd never seen. A drying rack stood in the living room, women's clothes swaying gently in the ceiling fan's breeze. And then I heard humming. Cheerful, soft, like whoever was in there was having the best day ever. For a split second, I actually wondered if I'd walked into the wrong house. But then I saw my family photo on the wall, and reality slapped me right back. I rounded the corner, into the kitchen, and there she was. Maybe late 50s. Short brown hair. Floral apron tied up like she owned the place. Wooden spoon clattered out of her hand and hit the tile. She blanched so fast, it was like someone had pulled the plug on her. "Oh my God," she whispered, backing up against the counter. "You're not supposed to be here." I just stared, forcing my voice steady, trying to keep my hands from shaking. "Excuse me," I said, slow, each word heavy. "What exactly are you doing in my house?" She gripped the counter, knuckles white, staring at me like a trapped animal. For a second, there was nothing but the tick of the fridge and the simmer of sauce. Then she started talking. Fussed, desperate. "Barbara said you'd be gone 2 weeks. She said it was safer for me here instead of where I was before." Barbara, HOA president. The name dropped in my stomach like a stone. I glanced at my security panel on the wall. Dead black. Not just off, power down. My system doesn't do that on its own. Someone had to gut it. And I install these things for a living. Someone with knowledge. My jaw hurt. I was clenching so tight. "Barbara let you in?" My voice had dropped, ice cold. She nodded, a flicker of relief, like maybe that made it okay. "She has a key. She said it's part of a community safety program. She told me how to turn off your alarm." That was it. I was seeing red. "Pack your stuff," I said flat. "You're leaving. Now." She gasped. And instead of moving, she grabbed her phone with shaking hands and dialed. "Barbara, he's back. Grant's home. He's telling me I have to leave." I could hear Barbara's voice through the phone, sharp, furious, like a buzz saw. The woman, she finally told me her name, Chloe, looked at me, wide-eyed, pleading. "She's coming over. She says you can't force me out until she gets here." I laughed. Not a funny laugh, a hollow, bitter thing. "Force you out? Lady, this is my house. 5 minutes." While she hovered by the stove, wringing her hands, I walked my own house like a stranger. Every drawer a little open. Spare blanket bunched on the couch. Toothbrush in my bathroom, not mine. Everything felt raw, personal, violated. Chloe kept mumbling. "I thought it was okay," Barbara said, but I wasn't listening. I was spiraling. This wasn't random. This was planned. Clothes on the rack, food in the fridge, my schedule mapped out, my alarm killed. Barbara had orchestrated every bit. My chest burned, anger, sure, but also something cold like betrayal. And under all that, something hardening, resolve. Barbara wanted a war. She was about to get one. She just drafted the wrong guy. That's when I heard the car door slam outside, crisp, final. Then sharp heels on the walkway, clicking like gunshots. Barbara had arrived. Through the window, I caught a flash of navy blue, sprayed gray hair glinting in the porch light. I moved back to the kitchen, standing my ground. The door burst open without a knock. She didn't enter. She invaded. Her presence filled the room, thick as smoke. Chloe shrank back, clutching her phone. Barbara's eyes locked on me, sharp, calculating like a hawk who thinks she's spotted an easy meal. In that split second, I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a power play. And Barbara? She thought she'd already won. She didn't even pause for hello. "Grant," she said, cold and crisp. "You returned early without notifying the HOA. "Excuse me." I shot back. "This is my house. I don't need to notify anyone when I come home." She slid a paper from her folder, waving it in the air like a judge with a sentence. Section 12.3. Homeowners absent more than 7 days must notify for security purposes. Her tone was smug, certain, like this technicality made her queen of my property. I stared at the tiny text. "Barbara, I bought this place. I didn't sign away my rights." Her smile cut like a knife. "Community living requires cooperation. You left your property vulnerable. I ensured it was safe." She looked at Chloe, like Chloe was proof of her benevolence. By moving someone into my house without asking, I stepped closer. The air between us snapped tight. Chloe needed housing. We have a duty to help residents in crisis. She's not a resident, and duty doesn't mean breaking into my house. "How'd you get in?" I demanded. Barbara's eyes didn't flicker. "The HOA maintains emergency access." My fist curled. "Access to my locks. My security system." She said it smooth. "Standard procedure. Emergency entry ensures safety. You kill my alarm." I stared. Her lips curved, smug. "We have master access. For your protection." That's when it clicked. This wasn't about safety. It was about control. She thought a title gave her power over everyone's lives. "You crossed the line," I said. She stepped closer, her perfume slicing through the garlic haze. "What I did was necessary. Chloe would have been homeless tonight. She's not my responsibility. And this isn't charity. It's trespassing. You're overreacting. It was temporary." A laughed raw, sandpaper sound. "Barbara, you bypassed my security, moved someone in, and now you're telling me I'm overreacting?" Her voice dropped, low, dangerous. "Residents who fight the HOA find life difficult." My spine straightened. Is that a threat? It's reality. Play by the rules. Her rules, not the law. Just her, carving an empire out of loopholes. I looked her dead in the eye. "Get out of my house." For 3 seconds, we just stared. Then she turned to Chloe. "Pack your things." Chloe scurried past me, head down. Barbara lingered in the doorway, silhouette sharp against the fading light. She leaned in, voice icy. "Fight me, and you'll regret it." Then she left. The door slammed, so hard the walls shook. Her threat lingered, thick as a storm cloud. I turned to the kitchen, Chloe's half-cooked spaghetti steaming on the stove, cheap apron dangling like a white flag. My sanctuary poisoned. My hands tightened on the counter, anger turning into resolve. Barbara thought she could walk into my life and scare me into silence. She didn't know who she was dealing with. I've spent 20 years learning how to lock down a house and spot a breach, and she'd just show me hers. That night, I sat at my kitchen table and started drafting in evidence log timestamps, security logs, Chloe's confession, every detail. If Barbara wanted a war, she'd get one. I don't lose wars. The next morning, it started. An envelope on my door, bold red letters, HOA violation grass height. My lawn was, apparently, a 1/4 inch too tall. I laughed. That was just the warm-up. Next, it was unauthorized cameras, truck parked crooked, more fake fines. The same cameras Barbara hacked, now illegal. Each notice dripped with that HOA tone, like scripture carved in stone. The fine stacked up $150, $300, $200 more. I documented everything. Rulers, photos, timestamps. Friday, the final shot, mandatory disciplinary hearing. Failure to pay $650 will result in legal action and residency suspension. Translation, get out. Instead, I built my case. Paper trail, formal rebuttals, photos, timestamps, every violation dissected. I CC'd every board member, every email clean and laced with legalese. While the printer hummed, I cracked open the bylaws. Not once did it say the HOA could enter a private home without consent or disable a security system. That wasn't enforcement, it was criminal trespass. Every paragraph sharpened my anger. Saturday, I dropped sealed packets on every board member's porch. Derek, the VP, opened his door in a Broncos t-shirt, confusion clouding his face. "What's this?" "Evidence," I said. "Proof Barbara is breaking laws." By the time I hit Robert, the treasurer, he was blinking like the ground had just shifted under him. "She's letting people stay in homes without permission." "Not saying. Proving. Dates, names, payments. Check your books. You'll see gaps." Almost home, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. "You're making a big mistake. Some fights aren't worth it. Drop this now while you still can." "Barbara." Nervous. I saved the voicemail. That was leverage. That night, I grouped texts, bank records, timelines. As I worked, the story started to roll in. Mrs. Henderson down the street came home for vacation to find strangers had slept in her bed. Another neighbor, liquor cabinet cleaned out and a thank you note left behind. Barbara billed them for security checks, pocketed cash, moved people in, then fined them for the privilege. I called the security company to double, check does the HOA have override authority? The guy on the line laughed. "Unless you gave them your codes, or a court ordered it, never." Barbara had lied to everyone. I typed up a demand for full HOA financial records, CC'd the whole board. The next morning, I dropped thick evidence packets at every board member's door. By noon, Derek texted, "We need an emergency meeting. Barbara's blowing up my phone." Good. That meant my shot hit home. The meeting felt like a courtroom neighbors crowded in, phones out, hungry for drama. Barbara strutted in, late, trailing a man she claimed was her legal counsel. One look at him, and you knew he hadn't seen the inside of a courtroom since high school civics. Barbara started her show community trust, shared values, keeping us all safe. She painted herself as the guardian angel, me as the villain threatening order. I let her talk. The more rope, the better. When it was my turn, I laid out the evidence, photos, receipts, texts, Chloe's confession. Who authorized emergency access to private homes? Dead silence. Then Chloe stood, voice shaking but loud. "Barbara charged me $300 a week to stay in Grant's house." Boom! The room exploded, gasps, outrage. Barbara hissed, "You little liar," but Chloe didn't flinch. I slid 2 months of bank transfers across the table, all to Barbara's personal account. Derek, the VP, spoke up. "Barbara, this doesn't look good." Barbara lost it. She ranted about sacrifice, slammed her fist on the table, and called me obsessed. I just sat quiet. When she finished, I turned to her lawyer. "State your bar number for the record." He blinked. "I'm not a lawyer. I'm her brother-in-law." Laughter, gasps, the whole circus. Derek's gavel hit the table. Motion to suspend Barbara effective immediately. 3 hands raised, done. Just like that, the queen was dethroned. Barbara spun, spitting threats, promising revenge, but this time, no one cared. Her brother-in-law chased after her, dignity in tatters. That night, there were no more red letters, no more threats. My house was mine again, but I knew it wasn't over. People like Barbara don't vanish, they hibernate, plotting. 3 weeks later, the fallout went viral. 14 homes breached, $23,000 in a Barbara's account. Police report reading like a thriller. Her mugshot was everywhere. Neighborhood, queen dethroned. There were Mimshire Master Key wearing a crown, the words, "Long live the queen." Oh wait, I laughed harder than I had in months. Court day came quick. Barbara tried to spin her story, but the judge didn't buy a word. Charges, fraud, trespass, falsifying reports. Sentence, restitution, penalties, jail. The sound of those cuffs clicking shut, man, that was justice in high definition. The HOA board clean house. New Relesno Master Keys, no exceptions. Every financial record made public. The street finally breathed again. Kids rode bikes, neighbors waved, people started grilling out instead of hiding. I planted flowers by the steps, fixed my door frame, took back my quiet. And every now and then, I'd spot that master key in a mason jar on my shelf. A warning. Crowns crack, keys rust, tyrants fall. You know, I used to think this was just about me and my house. But looking back, it was about standing up, about showing that you can't let bullies win just because they know how to hide behind paperwork. So let me ask you, if this was you, would you have fought or would you have packed up and moved? Where's the line between keeping the peace and fighting for what's right? Tell me your take, and if you've ever tangled with a wannabe dictator, I want to hear it. Anyway, that's my story. House is quiet now, coffee tastes better, and the only footsteps on my porch are mine. Sometimes karma's not lights loud, messy, and a little bit hilarious. And I'll take that over silence any day.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.